Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a global decision maker, whether you're tuning in from the US, the EU, the AU, China, or really any sovereign government, you are facing an absolutely unprecedented challenge right now. You're caught in this massive high stakes tension. On one hand, you need to adopt universal AI standards, but on the other hand, you absolutely must maintain true sovereign control over your own public systems. So, how do you govern complex public sector AI without just handing the keys over to a vendor? Well, today we're going to dive right into the answer laid out in the DyFram Governments and Regulators Handbook. All right, let's take a quick look at our roadmap. We're going to cover the AI governance gap, meet DyFram, Govlanes as the standardized core, governments as the sovereign layer, the federated collaboration flow, and finally, how to build your sovereign capability. Starting off with Section 1, the AI governance gap. Think about the core question we're all wrestling with here. How do you govern AI without completely flattening its reality? Right now, governments are kind of forced into a false choice. You're either handed these weak, high-level principles that are way too vague to actually use, or you're given narrow, static categories that just collapse the second an AI system becomes hybrid. I mean, think about it. A basic grammar assistant should definitely not be governed the same way as a predictive policing engine or a massive public benefit system. When we flatten AI identity like that, the entire governance structure just becomes totally unstable. So let's move to Section 2 and meet the solution, the DyFram architecture. Enter DyFram. This is a categorization-first AI governance architecture, and it was created by the CEO and founder of Govlanes, DyFram. Now, you should notice right away that this isn't just some private sector compliance memo or a hosted black box. DyFram designed this framework to start fundamentally with system identity, not ideology. It rigorously looks at the capability profile, the specific use case, the actor type, and the overall impact profile way before any governance consequence is ever finalized. The whole ethos behind this framework is brilliantly captured in this idea. Its promise is not that it eliminates political judgment. Its promise is that it disciplines judgment, structures it, and makes it reproducible enough to support serious public administration. And that really hits the nail on the head. Public administration demands memory, it demands transparency, and it demands consistency. DyFram actually provides the constitutional bones to make your political and administrative judgments legible, repeatable, and deeply secure. Let's jump to Section 3, Govlanes, the standardized core. So what exactly does Govlanes handle in this partnership? Basically, Govlanes maintains the standardized DyFram core. We're talking about the multidimensional categorization matrix, the core classification signature, and the standardized governance level, or G-level intensity. By standardizing these core mathematical and structural elements, Govlanes is literally the engine that makes cross-jurisdiction comparability possible. Without this highly standardized core, honestly, DyFram would just be a loose brand attached to completely incompatible local systems. Now, this dynamic creates a really critical distinction you need to understand. Governments tune the thresholds, but Govlanes standardizes the universal measure. What does that actually mean on the ground? Well, it means your government decides how fast an AI system enters a specific governance level. So, for example, an AI affecting child protection services, that's going to reach a higher governance level much faster than, say, a standard administrative tool. You control that threshold. However, once that system hits a G5 level, the fundamental rigorous intensity of what G5 means is standardized globally by Govlanes. Now for Section 4, governments, the sovereign layer. Okay, this is where your sovereignty really shines. You absolutely do not surrender your platform to a vendor. Instead, you control the whole of jurisdiction platform. You control the jurisdictional adaptation layer, those threshold sensitivities we just talked about, local prohibition protocols, and all the rich public records, routing, and appeals. Simply put, your government owns the legal interior, the whole shebang. Right at the center of this control is the jail, the jurisdictional adaptation layer. This is the exact place where your national laws, your sector duties, and your constitutional sensitivities actually live. You author it, you approve it, but here's the crucial part. Once you save and commit a jail package in your own platform, that committed copy is synchronized to DyFram. It stays locally authored, but it syncs to the core to ensure every single future case is processed against your actual current legal reality. Moving on to Section 5, the federated collaboration flow. Let's walk through this operational loop step by step, because it's fascinating. First, intake. A ministry submits a case through your platform, which immediately checks for local blocks. Second, the API request. If it's admissible, your platform sends a request carrying all that synchronized legal context. Third, processing. DyFram processes the case using its standardized core and returns a structured result. And finally, assembly. Your government gets this result back and locally assembles the final core package, attaching your rich, sovereign administrative records. I want you to notice the hard stop here. This is a totally non-negotiable constitutional rule of DyFram, local prohibition first. Through the conditional prohibition protocol, if your government legally bans a specific AI use case, let's say fully automated denial of public benefits, your platform must block it locally before it is ever even transmitted to DyFram. This brilliantly protects your sovereign authority and keeps the entire service boundary completely honest. Check out this really clean division of labor. The sovereign government handles intake, which results in an admissible request. Govlanes then handles the core standardization, returning a structured result. Finally, the sovereign government takes that result and handles the assembly, resulting in a perfectly usable, legally sound public record. And the best part? That record stays securely on your servers. As the handbook puts it so perfectly, sovereignty in DyFram is real, but it lives inside a disciplined constitutional architecture. You're not just making it up as you go along, and you're certainly not outsourcing your laws to a tech company. This federated flow guarantees both sovereign independence and structural consistency. It's an incredibly powerful balance. Which brings us to our final section, Section 6, Build Your Sovereign Capability. Adopting DyFram is essentially a serious institution-building exercise. You'll start by identifying your sponsoring institutions. Then you establish your jurisdiction-wide platform. After that, you author and synchronize your local laws and threshold sensitivities. Next, you establish credentialed trust directly with Govlanes. And finally, you run a bounded, real-world pilot to prove that you can securely process and successfully assemble a local record. It's a clear, manageable path. So, if you're watching this explainer from a government office in the US, the EU, the AU, China, or really any regulatory body worldwide, here is your major takeaway. We have got to stop treating AI governance as some sort of theoretical exercise. The tools exist right now. Dharma Basi and the Govlanes team have built the framework. Now it's time to step up. Start building your sovereign AI architecture today. Which leaves us with one final, absolutely vital question. Is your jurisdiction ready to govern AI with constitutional discipline? Because look, the AI era isn't waiting around for regulations to catch up. Implementing the DyFram architecture ensures you don't have to choose between modern capabilities and sovereign control. You can, and for sure you must, have both. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to review the full DyFram handbook to figure out your next steps.